So today's topic is assertion, but you're going to see how what we're going to play around with today is connected to basically everything we've done already. And so I hope you're getting the impression that each topic that we cover is kind of a building block for the house called healthy communication. And you're going to notice that we don't get to things that are more complex until we get all the building blocks. So assertiveness is one of the things that's a little bit more complex. People think they understand it, but it's not as easy to do as you might think. And so I'm going to connect it to what we've already done. Requires no barriers and roadblocks. That was our second presentation. It requires controlling yourself, not controlling the other person. You remember the power and control handout, right? It involves expressing your complete awareness wheel openly, honestly, and directly. So that was last week's, or the last time we met, presentation. Can I openly and honestly tell you what I'm sensing, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm wanting? Okay? It requires deep listening to the other's complete awareness wheel. So we just did deep listening last time too. It requires no drama triangle games, because remember, drama triangle games are just making you aware that you're starting to accidentally fall into unhealthy process where nobody's needs are going to get really met and you're going to waste a lot of time, energy, and effort. And then a typical definition of assertiveness is that you stand up for your legitimate rights without violating the other's rights. So we're going to be exploring that in today's presentation. All right? And assertiveness involves complete self-responsibility. So we've talked a lot about whatever's happening in any relationship you're in, you partially help create it. That's kind of the bad news. The good news is if I help create it, I can create it different whenever I want to. I just have to have the ability to choose to do something different. So I take responsibility for everything that's happening in the communication. And then where we're headed, so this is coming up after this, is when you have conflicts and problems, people know how to find both win solutions. That means that I care as much that your needs are met as I care that my own are met. And so we get to two more really complex issues called conflict management and collaborative problem solving, which will require all the stuff that we will have learned up until that point in time. People often used to call me and say, because they knew I was a mediator and they knew I worked with conflicts quite often, and they'd come in and they'd give me a call and they'd say, could you come in and do an hour-long presentation on conflict? And I would say, I'm sorry, I'm not that good. I said, if you want me to do a conflict workshop with you, I need at least 4 hours. That's the minimum, right? And a lot of companies don't have 4 hours for you. But if you're going to try to do it fast, nobody's going to walk away with anything that I think is that useful. Okay, so let's talk about assertiveness. So we are back, where? Square one. See, that's all the stuff you've already learned that we're going to integrate now. And we're going to do it in the context, again, of our mantra for the whole course, which is what? Awareness gives you choice, choice gives you power. So what we're going to try to make you aware of today is how assertive are you? Are you assertive when you want to be? And are you assertive in situations that it's very difficult to be assertive in? So one of those situations is when somebody's having a negative impact on your life in some way or another, so they're violating one of your legitimate rights, how do you let them know without being blaming and judgmental and with being totally respectful? Very few people know how to do this, which is sad. Now, even if you do it well, they still may feel judged and blamed, even though you're not doing that, because people are so used to being judged and blamed. But we'll tell you how to deal with that using assertion as well.